You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to the 224th episode of the Slow Ride Podcast. This is Matt in a spooky graveyard in Minneapolis.
This is Spencer, not in a spooky graveyard. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts, but it is, I am thoroughly spooked.
Spooky city on the hill.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah. You spooked?
I'm a little spooked. I gotta say, if I'm stumbling over my words, it's because of the spooky that I have just experienced that I don't know how to process.
Pretty scary. It's a lot of scary.
It's
not any scarier than rolling up to the start line of a cross race and maybe like looking over and seeing Vanderpool. That might be maybe a little scarier, but
pretty scary.
it's pretty scary. So who are you? You're Spencer? Where's Tim?
Oh, Tim, we're gonna have to be okay with the ghost of Tim's past for this episode. You're just gonna have to harken back to any of the 223 previous episodes to get your fill of Tim. This week, unfortunately,
He'll be back
had some
next week.
some outside responsibilities that could not be pushed aside.
I'm assuming it's doing something spooky. It's probably putting little Heimar in a little Radio Shack kit.
Yeah.
Probably that the one like the year that Lance came back. That kit's pretty spooky, pretty crappy kit, and pushing him around the yard.
Yeah.
Forcing him to do
Red and
intervals.
gray, not a good look. No, I mean, I assume that, he is taking extra time to really research his Halloween cyclocross race costume, because he's always very big on what costume is the best, but also functional on a bicycle.
He's into that. Do you think? I haven't talked to him about this. So he hasn't been racing any cross this year. Now that he's just focusing on getting little Heimar ready for the world tour. But Tim's been going on a lot of group rides on the weekends. Do you think he's going to show up on a road group ride on his fancy Moots tie bike, but with like a horse's head strapped to the top of him? Because the cross the outfits that work for spooky cross racing, half work and you're still kind of competitive. The advantage of cross for the spooky season, obviously, is that usually you're a lot of corners and you're not out in the wind for 900 miles in the middle of flat Florida.
No, but it can be done. Like, we have seen some elaborate cyclocross costumes happen. I know my friend Katie from Milwaukee famously did up her whole bike as a horse, and she was I don't know, what are those fancy lads that ride horses with the funny, red blazer and the white pants and the whole bit. She did that. She's, that was pretty epic. I think she's at Trek Bicycles now.
That's a lot of commitment.
Yeah, it was commitment. I know Tim doesn't have that level of commitment. He has that level of thought process, but not that level of execution. But I'm thinking you jogged something that I think could be a good costume for Tim. If he shows up on a group ride on his titanium boots, he could just wear like a set of scrubs and maybe a little mask and just go full dentist on it. Like you have the suit on underneath like a smock. Maybe the little the beaded metal chain that clips on the little bib. Yeah, something like that. Very good.
That would be really good. That's really good. He should do that, and if not, there's enough Taya bikes out there. Someone's got to go as a dentist for.
For sure.
Halloween.
And then he could go to Target or something to buy a bunch of dollar toothbrushes and give them out to people on the side of the road as they were riding along.
That'd be pretty good. He's throwing little plastic toothbrushes and individually wrapped packages at people.
And then,
well, that's good. I mean, dental hygiene is really important around
It
Halloween,
is really important.
Often neglected.
I think we don't talk about that enough on this podcast.
It's true. It's one thing we've really neglected. We shouldn't make fun. Dentists are important. I've been to a dentist 3 times in the last couple of months. We kid because we love. Thanks for fixing our teeth.
Do you think it would be fair or unfair, as the Apple expert, I need your opinion here, if Tim was on a moots, on a group ride, dressed as a dentist, would it be fair to throw apples at him? To keep him away?
Apples are pretty... That would hurt a lot, so no, I'm going to say it's not fair. They're pretty hard. I'm enough of an expert to tell you that that's going to hurt a lot.
Crab apples.
All right, crab apples. That might be maybe occasion 1 or 2, but not a handful. Sure. My God.
Well, as our listeners have surely figured out by now, this is our Halloween special, which I don't know how you do that for a cycling podcast, but this one is dropping probably on or about the holidays. So what do we got for like spooky stories in current cycling news?
Well, since it's the off season, we have all the spooky doping of past coming back, and Brunel. So Brunel got his lifetime ban, and the doctor, the postal doctor, got 5 years because he cooperated, and I don't know, a bunch of those guys.
Well, didn't he get
finally got?
Did he get his ban reduced, and then now? Like it's time served kind of thing. So now he's free to practice doctoring again.
Yeah, it was reduced. I don't remember if he's free to start.
I thought that's what again. I read, but I am. This was a while ago. So, but yeah, Brunel.
I couldn't fully read those stories.
It is hard to care that much. I did read a few blurbs. I read Brunel's response to his lifetime ban, which was basically I accept this ruling, blah, 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 it is what it is, but everybody else was doing it, man. How come they all get to be in cycling still and I don't? Was basically the gist of it.
Yeah, which I can kind of understand, but I don't know. I guess that's the cost of being top dog then,
right?
That's how I kind of feel about Lance. It's like you were you got to be top dog. That was the trade. That was the deal with the devil.
Yeah.
You got to be number 1 during the dirtiest of the dirty, and now you're out. And 2 and 3. Jan just gets to have his life be a disaster, and then Beloki's hips don't work. I'm assuming, and everybody has a cost from their youthful discretions, I guess. And Wiggins gets to write books about how he loves Lance Armstrong, I guess. So he's the, So.
All right. Well, speaking of digging up graves, Wiggins, I didn't really read anything about this. I haven't heard anything about this yet, so you're gonna have to fill me in if you even know what's going on. But what? Mm-hmm. I mean, he could be considered in the graveyard of cyclists past as well. But here he is, not only punching through the soft earth and in the midnight, moonlight, but he's also dragging up Lance Armstrong with him. What's the deal?
I don't know. He had some points. The little excerpt thing I read was sort of like him talking about how much he liked Lance, as he got into cycling, sure. and how it's sort of the same argument of like everyone was doing it, all the tour guys were crazy, Lance was just the craziest. But I don't know. Wiggins has consistently annoyed me, and now that he's going to bat for Lance, it's just even more annoying to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't paid that close attention because it does feel like this, like we're in that weird time in the off season where the stories are pretty thin on the roadside, and and this sort of crap comes out.
Yeah, everything's a news story.
Everything's a news story right now. It's like Fabio Aru gets new shoes or something. It'll be the splashed headline on the cover or the front of all the cycling pages tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. So I lost my train of thought, little guy. I don't know what I was going to say. I had a whole thing and I lost it, but
okay,
that's all right.
Well, there was one nice thing I saw the other day, which was that of like old news being new news, which was that it's the 10th anniversary of Sastre winning.
Oh, it is
the tour. Or it was 2008.
Nice.
2008 was when he won, I think. So his hometown renamed, I don't know, some sports facility, like the Carlos Sastre Sports Facility now, which is nice.
Okay. What level sports facility are we? Are we talking like National Soccer Stadium, or are we talking like neighborhood badminton league?
I think it's more that. I don't know. I mean, I think he's from a smaller town. I don't know where he's from in Spain. I think there might be like a junior team involved somehow or something, like sports facility. I don't know. I thought he was somehow involved with like a junior team. Maybe I'm misremembering. But that got me thinking that means if it's the 10-year anniversary of him winning, which I hadn't really thought about, which also makes me feel old.
Yeah.
That means it's the 10-year anniversary of when Lance saw Sastre won, and like the total dick that he is, thought, well, if that guy can win, I can come back and win. And basically opened himself up to eventually get, do his brief comeback and then have his big downfall because of that comeback.
Yeah, that was the start of the end, right? He couldn't.
And we all knew it at the time.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing, is that he was such an egomaniac that he thought he could come back. And I mean, I remember talking to you, I remember talking to Tim, I remember talking to tons of folks, and it was just this sort of like, why is he coming back? Like, he got away at that point with it, and we all knew it, and we all knew that if it got dragged up, it would be years later, it would be harder to prove. And the fact that he came back was just like, dude, you're gonna go down. And then he went down.
Yeah. It was
scene of the crime, man. They always return to the scene of the crime.
He couldn't resist. No, it's true. That's a spooky tale for you right there. Like, the magnetism of it, like he flew too close to the sun, like the greed got him. Things went downhill quick. Yeah. Like you were saying, like the deal with the devil, you got away clean. You were, all you had to do was like bathe in your riches, and you couldn't leave well enough alone. And, put yourself back in the testing pool. There's new tests, there's like whatever. And just not a smart move. One of the first, after making, 7 years worth of like calculated chess moves, like you just flipped the board over and said, screw it. Like after a 2-year hiatus or whatever.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, I'd only heard that story once, and I heard that Sastre wrote up to him at some point and asked for an apology, which I also thought was pretty awesome.
Sastre, quietly one of the greats for sure. I mean,
yeah, quietly pretty brutal in that way.
So speaking of the tour, we did get Segway Sam here. He just burst in the room and let me know that the new 2019 all-new Tour de France route was revealed. Too much pomp and circumstance. Stage full of stars. Up there, all the 5-time winners and some other guy. There's a few interesting things going on. It's very climby. They're going full Vuelta this year.
Yeah, or full Bardet, full Pinot.
You think that's the angle? The French angle?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like every year they try to make it a little more French. It doesn't work.
Well,
you got to keep trying.
I think they're mixing in a little bit of the old American style this time around.
Yes.
This go round, they found a mountaintop finish, as they do there in France, but this one's on gravel, little guy.
Yeah, it's going to be probably not that cool. I mean, probably nothing will happen, but Could.
Well,
I don't know.
they're all going to have all their gravel bikes on top of the team cars to switch onto at the bottom of the climb. So that's going to be chaotic.
That got me thinking earlier. So kind of the standard in road now has become everyone rides 25s.
Yeah.
Up from skinny. But with all these gravel stages and all these gravel bits of races going in, I'm assuming all the road bikes are going to be able to fit 28s or even 30s soon.
Yes.
So maybe if everyone even runs 25s, all your new road bikes are going to be able to get 30s, even 32s. Like, there's going to come a point where, like...
Yeah. No, 20...
I'm surprised they still ride 25. Like, anyone rides anything less than a 30 for Roubaix. That seems bonkers to me at this point.
No, it is.
With what people know about how tires work, the guys still run smaller for that. I would even think, 30s or 32s for Roubaix. But...
I'll tell you, as formerly working for a sponsor of Cannondale, the EF team, we sent them about 50-50 25s and 28s. A lot of teams are running 28s, just kind of not even when it's a Roubaix, race. So, I mean, 25 is, the bare minimum, the absolute bare minimum. I don't know why any tire manufacturer even makes 23s at this point. I think they all go to Florida. And it's not a knock on Tim. That is just literally where they go. I don't know why people down there seem to love them still. That's their thing.
There's a lot of bikes that can only fit.
That's true.
23s. There's a lot. I mean, it's a weird world that we were in, that it was so aero is everything, and it still is to some extent, but it was aero, and then at the same time as this aero world was building, people started understanding that a little bigger tire was actually better and faster and more comfortable, and this sort of collision of these two worlds, where now you've got this tire knowledge that doesn't jive with frames of like 5 years ago that are too tight.
Right. Your Cervelo can only take a 23 in the back, and you're screwed because the bike shop doesn't carry them anymore. Yeah. No, that's tough. But no, I would be shocked if folks weren't just riding 28s for the whole stage, or even bigger. Like, I know a lot of the standard, like you're thought of as premium race tires, like the Corsa from Vittoria, like is available in the 30. Yeah. That is a big bulbous plush ride. Yeah, like I've got those in 28s on my bike right now, and they're fantastic.
Well, at Perry Tours, less than a month ago, there was tons of flats, and everyone was complaining, but it just seemed like all the guys who were flatting all the time just showed up with 25s and pumped them up too much and weren't taking the course into consideration. I like the gravel stuff, not just because of the novelty, but because it actually makes, it forces the race bikes and the equipment to be a little bit more in line with what people actually would want to ride. And I'm all for like a full on racing bike and the craziness, but it's more interesting to me that it's a great fast racing bike, and that you can also do a long full day ride and take it to a race and like ride and be comfortable, as opposed to like having a bike that you can just show up to a crit on, but you can't ride down a gravel road because you'll like kill you or you'll puncture immediately, is kind of boring and stupid.
The future is here, little guy, and we need to just accept it.
I remember years ago at Opus, which in Minnesota, from the non-Minnesota people, was the World Championships that occurred every Tuesday night in the spring.
Yep.
Most important race of the year for about 5 weeks. But I remember showing up and I had 28s on, and I remember somebody being like, holy cow, look at those tires, because I had my Gatorskin 28s that I'd had on like all through the spring as my long mile training tires, and somebody just thinking that it was crazy that I was going to race on these gigantic monster tires, and like how heavy they'd be, because it was like 28s on aluminum rims, dude. No way. You're going to get dropped on the Opus climb.
That's pretty good.
It was It's a funny thought. Now probably all those people are on 28s all the time. So
Yeah, well, the gator skin might not be the supplest road race tire, little guy, but I don't think you had many other choices at the time, and maybe you were onto something. I'll give you that.
it's not the supplest, but I will stand by the gator skin as a good middle of the you don't get a lot of flats. It's pretty good in the wet even. And it's not the supplest, but it's not like the worst. Like it is, I mean, it is what it is. Like if you want to ride a lot of miles and you could still show up to a race and do a race, this is my in-show plug for gator skins because people sometimes trash them, and I do still like them personally.
Right.
I actually have one on one of my bikes right now.
I would be one of those people that tends to trash them, little guy. I apologize.
It's okay.
My go-tos would be the Vittoria courses or the Michelin, whatever the Pro series is now. Those are my favorites, I think.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of those when I had racing clinchers and actually did crits. Those were good. We were always that was like the unofficial LGR team tire.
Yeah,
even though we weren't sponsored by them, but it was what we bought because they were great tires.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very.
And they came in colors back in the day.
So I always had the white ones. Yeah, so many colors. Yeah. I was definitely that guy with the fucking white tires.
Oh yeah, man! I had the white tires and the blue and the yellow because I had the red and yellow road bike and then the yellow tires to go with it.
Yep, you're right. Pure early '90s bliss right there. It was good.
It was all based off of one picture of Pantani from like 97 or 98 or something, you know, and it's just that informed my tire choices for about the first 5 or 6 years of bike racing. Of always color coordinate the tires if possible.
That's perfect.
And if not, change tires.
If there's nothing else you need to have gleaned from that era is that. So you did well. Yeah, and I never saw you in a do-rag, so I think you pulled the good parts out from that and left the dregs behind, you know?
Oh, I should start doing the do-rag thing. Now that would be spooky. Speaking of big tires, this is my segue.
Okay, I'm ready.
A little bit of cross. There's a little bit of Super Prestige this weekend. A little Braco, maybe?
Yeah.
Did you get to watch any of
No.
this? I saw a little bit.
I didn't see any.
Wow.
I am completely cross ignorant at this time.
I'm forgetting what the Saturday race was, but Sweek won, I think. And then Vanderpool, of course, just destroyed at the Super Prestige. And then Voss won solo in the Women's Super Prestige.
She's been so good lately.
She's been good. I didn't get to watch any of that. I got to watch some of the Vanderpool destruction.
Okay.
I am starting to come around to what you guys and a lot of folks have been saying, is that it's kind of boring how good he is, as stupid as that is. I hate to trash on him for being 900 times better than the best cross racers in the world and being superhuman, but the races aren't quite as exciting, though the battle for 2nd through 10th was really good, and the cameras are getting better at jumping back and forth and showing you that battle.
That's good.
I feel like the camera operator, like whoever's doing the editing and production of those things, is realized that like you got to show Vanderpool, but you've got to show that battle because that's what people want to see, and that's actually a really good battle right now.
Yeah.
Between Wout and Toon, but I was excited about. You got a bunch of young guys in there, like that Ellie, the guy who was like U23 world champion. For
Ellie
a couple years.
Iserbeat.
Yeah, he got like 4th.
Okay.
And then that Tom Pidcock guy, the British guy that jumped off Fidea, who I kind of assumed wasn't going to be good, and they're just talking up because he speaks English. But it turns out he's actually good because he's been rolling around in the top 10 and just barely not making like the top 5. So that's good. So there was some. I'm excited because there's some good.
And then you got
there's some good, really young riders, like, and they're getting better like week by week. And K-Pow's still 10th, so there's still hope.
He is on a slow downward spiral, but he can still pull it out when he needs to.
Hey, I feel it, man. I'm basically when I show up to a local cross race, I got 9th this weekend, so I'm exactly K-Pow. I'm like I used to be up there a little closer to the front, and I'm just a little bit slower at everything. And I totally feel him, so I'm rooting for him, man. He can do it. Mid-30s.
I got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, there's no reason to really go back. I mean, watch the battle for second through like 10th. There's a sweet crash in the last corner. Vander Haar, of course, takes everybody out.
Oh, that's weird.
It's super weird, right? But I don't know. There's a lot of good new names in there, and hopefully it'll rain at some point in Belgium soon. And,
that's been a big thing there, is that it's been so dry. I actually saw Katie Compton posting pictures on the internet about that, like on her training ride. They're over there, obviously, for their European campaign or whatever. But she was like, "Yeah, this pond I train around is usually full, and it's like down a couple feet right now, and like all the big ruts that I ride through, like they're all just sandy and they fall apart. Like the ruts don't hold like they used to, and the ground is weird right now, and the racing is weird right now." So
yeah,
it's interesting.
Super fast looking. That is weird. I wonder if that's hard for riders like Katie and like the Euro-based riders, like always Euro-based riders is probably, it's weird, but like their stuff's all there. And if you're an American going over there, maybe usually you bring 5 sets of mud wheels and 2 sets of file treads, right? And now you get over there and it's like dusty dry, and you're like, all I need is file treads.
Yeah.
You flat one of those, you know?
Yeah.
It's trouble. That's a weird thing. Yeah, hopefully it gets muddy, because I want to see some muddy cross races.
Yeah. Well, one way we can help, do some fundraising for some muddy weather over in Europe is to head over to the Pre-Lap, little guy.
Oh, so we're gonna talk about Bling Matthews first, though, because I think this weekend.
Slow Ride Podcast.
Merci Brachot, Tinkoff Saxon.
I'm Lauren Stevens, and I'm here at the World Championships Road Race.
This is Lynn from Podium Insight.
It's Rassam Bahadi.
I'm Alex Dowsett. Normally I'm racing for Movistar. Here I'm racing for Team GB.
You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast.
Who we riding for? We're going to ride for any muddy, delicious...
Muddy Waters, little guy.
Liquids.
Muddy Waters. Yes.
Oh, the classic one on 24th and Lindale?
Well, there's probably one in every city, Muddy Waters Cafe, but you don't need to leave the house to go there to get your fix. You can just head over to grimperbrothers.com and pick up the full Schleck blend of coffee. It is the Wide Angle Podium supporting blend. I just got a bag in the mail 2 days ago, full of my 2 bags of full Schleck that I ordered up off their website. And I've been enjoying it the last couple days, and it is fantastic. It's just really nice. I went to their, like I said, I go to their website, I buy it. I don't get any special deal. I paid full price for these bags of coffee because I want to support the other shows on the network as well. Crossers Radio, Bike Shop CX. You're supporting all of these shows and ours when you buy this coffee, and it really helps us out. And you get to, put the podcast earbuds in your ears, get on the trainer, maybe enjoy your hot cup of Joe as you sort of enter the day. And we want to be there with you. We want to help you experience that.
Yeah. And if you want, so you brew that nice cup of Joe up at home, and then if you want to get a circa 2000 Muddy Waters Minneapolis experience, but while you taste the future of cycling at that time, you get like a Pac-Man emulator. You could probably download one off the internet on your phone.
Absolutely.
And then you play Pac-Man on your phone, and you drink your full Schleck coffee, and you're like, man, I wonder what 2003, 2004 is going to be like.
Yeah.
It's going to be full of Schlecks. That's what it's going to be like.
That was definitely the best part of that coffee shop was they had the sit-down glass tabletop Miss Pac-Man, like the 2-player version. So good.
Great.
I put a lot of quarters into that machine, I gotta say.
Yeah.
With all
That was
the
brilliant.
with all the quarters I put into that machine, I could have bought several bags of full Schleck light roast coffee from Grimper Brothers. Head over to wideanglepodium.com. Click on the Grimper Brothers logo we've got there. It'll take you right there. Very simple and easy to do. Easy way to support all the shows on the network and get something for for yourself, a little kickback. Also, speaking of the network, I know we have mentioned it before, but it bears mentioning again. Crosshairs Television. Cyclocross Television on youtube.com/cxhairs. That is Bill over at Crosshairs Radio. That's his new visual medium that he's doing. He's covering all the C1 races throughout the U.S., doing these like 10 to 15 minute recaps of how the race went down, all the important parts, has some narration to it, and they're very good. If you have not watched them, they are excellent at kind of breaking down the strategies and stuff in the races.
I have not got a chance yet, I have to admit, but I plan on it. I liked his videos in the past.
Yeah.
He always does a great job of especially all those American races you can't really see.
And that's just it, is like we had this time in America where all the races tried to live stream, and they all figured out that for the price that it made sense to be able to do it, the product was not good enough. Yeah. And if they wanted to do a good, what it deserved production, it was not financially feasible. So we had this little spike in live streams, and then it all went away. And, now Bill has made it his mission to put on these videos of all the C1s, and he's throwing out little mini highlights of the C2s when he can, which is awesome. It's the greatest thing going on the internet right now, and we're super psyched to have him have that show as part of the Wide Angle Podium Network as well. So you can, if you go donate, you can support our show, you can support that one, it's really great. We're growing as a network and as a family of shows and products, media output, and it's just really cool. I'm psyched on what he's doing, and it's cool to be able to support it.
Indeed.
Yeah. And I guess the last bit of info I want to throw out here during this Preem Lap is to remind everybody that we do have a Wide Angle Podium app for your iOS or Android phones, available in the Google App Store, the iPhone App Store. Just search Wide Angle Podium. You'll get all the podcasts there. You get notifications if you want when the new ones are out. Get all our glorious cover artwork and all this. It's a very cool app. I enjoy it. It's fun. And I don't know. It's just another app for your phone. It's free, Like, what are you going to do? You guys love apps. You know you do.
Yeah, you kids.
It's kids and their apps. It's no Snapchat. I'll give you that, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've never seen Snapchat. I don't even know what it looks like, but I bet the Wide Angle Podium app's better, having never seen Snapchat.
And with that, let's get back to the show.
Hi, this is Dan from Namibia, not Vietnam, and you are listening to the Slow Ride Podcast.
Okay, little guy. We're here solo. Well, not solo. We're here duo.
Duo.
We're missing the third leg of the Slow Ride Podcast stool.
That's why we're leaning against the wall this week.
Yeah, we are precariously balancing here, trying to get through a whole episode without Tim. I think it's going okay.
It always makes it sound like you're like, it's going okay. Wipe sweat from brow.
Yeah.
It's going fine. Scratches top of head.
Exactly. I don't want anyone else to have to bail on this podcast suddenly without warning. Much like Derek Bouchard Hall dropped a bomb on us earlier this week and announced that he is leaving his position as CEO of USA Cycling at the end of the year. Little guy, where were you when the news hit? I'm sure you remember.
I think I was at work.
Little guy, this is a
In
moment.
an elevator.
Yeah, okay. This is a moment that you need to remember exactly where you were. I was
going to change the course of cycling time and
this is a moment
and bike racing future and past.
It is, and I'm not being completely facetious when I say that. I think Derek Bouchard Hall was he was a very good move for USA Cycling. He pushed in a lot of good directions, put a lot of cool stuff on the table. He was trying to upgrade like the parts that needed upgrading, like the IT infrastructure and things like that had just been, band-aided together for too long. He was always in an uphill battle. I do not envy that position. But I think he did a good job. Overall, a good job. There are a few things that were stumbles for sure. I'm not going to let him totally off scot-free, but I think overall he would get passing marks. I think he did a good job. I think he pushed the sport in the right direction, and we should be appreciative of the work that he did. I was surprised though that to read that he was leaving.
Yeah, I was too. I guess I mean in a way, it's kind of a thankless job. Get a lot of crap.
You get a lot of crap. He did. But, he did sell at least one USA Cycling license that I know of. Me personally sold one to Super Rookie at the Grand Fondo, New York, when they were both there at the same time. It was the first USA Cycling license that Derek Bouchard Hall ever sold, and I believe the only. Not normally the CEO's job to sell the licenses to bike racers, but Tim got him to do it, so that's back in the back catalog somewhere in our episodes. A good one. We had a good interview with him back in the day as well. I was impressed with him then. I thought we would have him back on the show before he resigned, but and maybe we still can. We'll see.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah, so he's going to ASOS.
Yeah, that came out a couple days later. Interesting.
I kind of forgotten about ASOS, so I assume they're going to try to steal some of that Rafa thunder.
Probably. I mean, so yeah, the Rafa has that Walmart financial backing behind them now.
Yeah.
So ASOS needed to make a big power move, and I guess getting Derek Bouchard Hall, former CEO of Wiggle, would be their counter move. Not a small move. Do you think?
No.
Do you think it can move the needle for ASOS?
I have no idea. Is anybody? So ASOS had a big. They were everywhere. They were in the magazines. We saw people in ASOS stuff. You'd see a guy in ASOS and you'd be like, dentist.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And you'd like look out and at the coffee shop and you'd be like, either Thai bike or a Colnago, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say.
Fly with an ASOS kit.
Yeah.
Full ASOS kit. But that was also an ASOS. So what I'm not knowing where ASOS is anymore is because ASOS had the two ad campaigns for a long time. They had topless girl holding her breasts.
Yeah.
And then they had like putting on bibs or something. And then they had ASOS guy there was like one guy in all their ads.
Yep.
He's 45-year-old dude who's always, he's just cruising around a lake in Switzerland or something.
Yep.
Full ASOS Colnago, I'm assuming, full campy tie.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Does ASOS guys still exist? I know they dropped the sexy babe putting on bibs thing after people finally started complaining about that.
I don't know where ASOS guy is. I imagine he's on his boat still working on the tan because he was like perfectly tanned, hair greased back, good sunglasses, very expensive sunglasses. Always shirtless, no matter what he was selling. Somehow he was always shirtless, even if it was a jersey. ASOS guy was amazing. But the thing that I will remember that I think is notable about ASOS, I'm not trying to memorialize them. I also just said that I'll always remember them for, but they still exist.
They still exist.
Is that ASOS is probably the only place in the world, if you're a cyclist, that you can go and buy a pure white jersey, white bibs, white booties, white arm warmers, and a white like skull cap, and then go riding, and a white jacket to wear over all of it when you get high enough in the mountains. Oh my God. Oh my God. And it would only cost you like, I don't know, $900 for that whole getup.
Yeah, at minimum.
Yeah. And then you could get it all in yellow, and you could get it all in blue, and
that was
all in red. Not like blue, like blue, like true blue, like the bluest blue that there is. Like, and not this muted like Rafa like earth tones, gray and red and whatever. Like, we're talking yellow, like school bus yellow, like see you 20 miles away yellow, but somehow it's not fluorescent. It was incredible. And you can't mix and match those colors. You had to buy the whole toe to tip outfit.
Yeah, unless you wanted to look like a primary color wheel. This is just a callback for you and me and Tim. But so there was the guy, you remember him, he was in Cat 3s, I think, when we were Cat 4s. We called him the most stylish man in cycling.
Oh yeah.
Locally in Minnesota, because I don't know if it was ASOS or not, but he would wear, it was mostly an all white kit.
Mm-hmm.
No, just like nothing on it. Just he showed up. Let's assume it's ASOS. He'd show up in that all white look, and he rode a Kroll. He rode this like sweet Kroll steel road bike.
Mm-hmm.
We all totally liked, and we didn't know who this guy was because he was elusive. He was like the one guy not on a team.
Yep.
And he'd just show up in his all white kit, and he was basically ASOS man for Minnesota. And I don't think we were all too afraid to ever speak to him. He's probably just a regular nice guy who lost all his other kits or something. But he was ASOS man from Minnesota, man. In 2005, we thought ASOS man was the pinnacle of what you could achieve in cycling, being this sort of elusive, quiet, unattached rider.
It's like it's like a ghost that you see in the mountains. Like if you climbed high enough on the right day and the mist and the fog was just right, ASOS man would appear. I think every city has that. Like that mysterious figure, obviously Tucson had the gray wolf for a while, and
I saw
we had the most stylish man in cycling, and I'm sure all the other local scenes around the country. This would be a good thing to tweet at us about, or to post in our official Slow Ride fan cast page on the Facebook. If you have a local legend, we want to know who it is. That could be good, because this ties into our spooky theme for this episode of man of mystery. Where is he? What's he doing? What's he up to? And I will tell you, little guy, he had that Kroll. That was a cross bike. We had seen him at the cross races, still wearing all white. Not the world champion, but still wearing all white like he was.
Yep, it was sweet.
His road bike, I kid you not, Colnago.
Was it?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, man. All right. I believe it.
Absolutely.
I'm sure right now, at this point in the episode, Tim, listening to this episode now a day later, is pulling up 2005 cross results that he has stored away on some secret hard drive in his bunker of Minnesota cross results that he data mines every day for information for some reason. And he's picking out that guy's name. So by next episode, I'm assuming Tim will be doing the backstory on this, and we'll have a full full report on who this is.
It's going to be like Bigfoot. It's going to be like, I swear it was there in the results yesterday and now it's gone. Like there's no answer to this mystery. But I got one other thing here on the list, little guy, that we want to talk about before we wrap this thing up. And that is the fact that we are, like we mentioned, in kind of the slow news season here for road cycling, but things are starting to ramp up a little bit. Things are, teams are starting to gel. We've got all the signings more or less announced. Most of the Aqua Blue guys have managed to find some teams. There's definitely a few stragglers out there. Hopefully they can get it sorted. But teams are starting to do what is maybe my favorite part of a World Tour team, which is their team bonding kind of camps pre-season.
Yeah.
This is the classic, maybe brought to notoriety by Bjarne Riis, along with all kinds of other notoriety he has, where he would run the CSC team through like basically army boot camp. It was kind of what they made it look like. It was probably more like a mud run or something similar, Tough Mudder kind of event.
Tough Mudder, yeah.
But doing, kind of a ropes course and going parachuting and, doing all these survival skills to really make his team trust each other and, whatever. But we're moving into that season and we're starting to see some stuff pop up on the radar. Little guy, what have you seen? What do you got for me on this front?
Oh, I've only seen the UAE team got together, which actually at least that stupid article let me know a few new riders had joined the team that I didn't realize. I was surprised that UAE didn't just, maybe send some of their riders to Yemen to fight in the war that they're funding there. But instead they decided to drive around the desert and do other things as opposed to do that with their money like they usually do. So, I don't know, I don't think I've seen any other ones yet. UAE's on the hot tip, man. They're quick. They're out in the desert. They're playing in the sand.
They're riding fat bikes out there. What are they doing?
No, they were just literally sitting in the sand on some rugs.
Yeah.
And then they were up in a skyscraper and then they were riding their bikes.
No, that's good.
On a very lonely looking road. It didn't look like they were doing any real team bonding.
Okay.
But maybe they were just bonding.
Sure.
They were bonding over their fear of heights because they were in a very tall skyscraper.
Maybe what wasn't photoed was like the conference room where they're doing trust fall exercises and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Maybe they did like a secret Santa, like a white elephant gift exchange or something.
Yeah, everybody got a roux. Things to boost his confidence and make him feel special again.
Amazing, Fabio.
Really
they picked you again. Dan Martin got you too. This is incredible.
Yeah, they made sure that Dan Martin got a gift for Fabio Aru because Aru was really, really nervous.
Yeah.
Dan Martin was going to get more things than him.
Well, that's a legitimate fear, little guy.
Yeah, he should be afraid.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully you can build that confidence up. Hopefully you got enough good trinkets and gifts that he'll be ready to go for the Giro when it comes around before we know it. Or maybe the biggest tour of the year, the Great Cadell road race in Australia.
Yeah, totally. Well, no, I haven't seen any other ones yet. I was thinking that we talked about this a little in the podcast green room. If we had World Tour teams, we were thinking about what we would make our teams do.
Sure.
And I'm going to say, because my team, like I said before, is sponsored by Go Westy. We drive around in Vanagons. All the support vehicles are Vanagons.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the winter time is the perfect time to do a little maintenance, to get in there, work on some things, get your riders comfortable with doing roadside repairs.
Right. Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is a Giro stage to get ruined because a Aru can't get under there and change,
the fuel filter's clogged up and yeah.
Yeah, you got to get in there. You got to know where that fuel filter is. That thing can go at any time. You want to recognize the buzzing is an indication that it's about to go. Rockers, all these things. There's a lot of things you could do. Torn CV boots, it's a good time to deal with those.
Right, sure.
Now in the off season,
and you're going to want them to also be familiar with the parts van and what parts are available on the parts van, because not all the parts are going to be there on the parts van because you've used some of them.
That's true. You got to keep an inventory, and that's important to make sure your domestiques keep that Excel sheet.
Yeah, up to date,
updated.
Sure.
Yeah, because you don't want to think, oh, I'm going to roll off to the tour tomorrow, and oh no, I don't have any more bits and bops and boops.
Mm-hmm.
That
sounds pretty like a pretty interesting camp, little guy. Guys are really going to get their hands dirty. Get some real world.
Oh, they're definitely going to get their
experience.
hands dirty. And it's not really a camp as much as it's the side. It's basically just sort of like a little patch of dirt on the side of Route 5. The camp is it's open-ended. So it could last 25 minutes and it could be 2 or 3 days depending upon how well the guys do. And that's where they're really going to build trust and teamwork, is if they want to get out of there and maybe get back to their off season and like seeing their families ever again, they're going to have to work together to get this thing working again.
Yeah, to pull that transmission.
We can't leave it out there.
It. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we can't leave it out there. And I mean, if the cops come by and tag it, we're going to be in trouble because we don't have insurance on it. So they've got to get out there quick and get it off the side of the road.
Okay.
If this could get bad.
No, that's true.
Okay. So that's what my team's doing.
All right. Well,
what's your team doing?
See, now I was famously our teams. You had the Go Westy Vanagon team, and I had the team sponsored by Oscar Mayer Wieners. So, not much I could do with that, little guy. I was thinking for team building, we'd probably end up maybe going to the Oscar Mayer factory and actually seeing how the sausage was made, as it were. Which
that's going to scare the crap out of your team. That's going to make them so thankful to be cyclists.
Yeah,
they're going to be like, "Oh my god, I was only going to do a 5-hour ride today." And not do my last hour of intervals, but I'm going to go out and do my intervals because holy hell.
Yeah.
If I ever have to go and get a normal job in a factory like this hellhole, I saw things today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely going to be part of it. And, it's also for the goodwill of the sponsors. We want to show some face around there, just, shake some hands and stuff, but definitely wash hands afterwards.
And if you've got a rider, Jan Ulrich-esque, who likes to maybe pack on a few hot dogs in the off season, this is going to scare him to a nice diet in the off season.
Oh yeah,
on nothing but fruits and veggies, and grains and no meat. So the chances of your riders showing up overweight for the season are going to go way down after you show them the horror show that is the Oscar Mayer factory.
Absolutely, and that's part of it. And the other part is that, they're going to give us obviously coolers and coolers full of these hot dogs to give away during the tour and all these races for our
6-month-old hot dogs to give away at the tour.
Well, they would be for the team to consume, but all of us are going to go vegetarian after that. So we're just going to toss them out to the crowd as the bus rolls by. Little treat for the kids. Yeah, nothing weird at all. I think it'll be good. I think the Dutch corner at the tour would appreciate more hot dogs for the grill. You can't have too many, so that's one of the directions I would go. But for a non hot dog based team, I was thinking about if you were director sportif, if you got just dropped into the role. This time of year of an actual World Tour team, sponsored by some Swiss French bank that had too much money and obviously just supported cycling as sort of a way to launder their funds, maybe the extra cash that they had in these tax-free havens. What would you do? How would you build the teamwork? And, I don't know, was Bjarne Riis onto something? Do you think this actually works?
Probably a little bit.
Okay. Like better than like a book club, better than...
a A book club, I think, is a nice idea because you got to flex those mental muscles too, man.
It's true.
Or you're gonna get stale. Yeah, I think it's good. I think the Bjarni thing was good too because it seemed like it was everybody. It wasn't just the riders,
right?
You know, it was all the support staff. And I think that's a good plan because otherwise, it is a weird division of labor where some people just you ride your bikes and people hand you stuff all day, and it's probably good to stay a little humble. But that's not how the normal world works for most of the time, and it's a weird place. Not that they don't have hard jobs, and I'm not saying like, oh, you bunch of babies and stuff, but like it's a strange existence, it seems.
Yeah, to have an entire support system built around you for 6 or 8 months out of the year. Yeah, I think maybe that's actually brings up a good point. Maybe I would, maybe my world tour training camp would be a lot of like, it would basically be like a glorified home ec for these guys. Like, okay, guys, here's how we go to the grocery store. Here's how we buy things. Here's how we cook dinner that's not just like pasta and sauce from the jar. Like, you guys, I know you're all young 20s and don't have any skills, but maybe some life lessons could be really more valuable than anything. Maybe a real world situation. Maybe I rent a house with 9 different bedrooms and put them all in there. And
who gets there first?
Yeah, and one person has to cook like dinner every night for the rest of the folks. Like, that could really show you who the team leaders were, who the road captains were going to be, and who maybe isn't going to call up for a lot of these bigger races.
Yeah, I like that. The road captains barking out orders in the kitchen, making everybody pull their weight. You make the rice. But I wanted to add the salt at the end. No, you're not the final lead out man. You're the domestic for the early miles. Make the rice.
Make the rice. Yeah, we could be onto something there.
Yeah, that sprint train, they just get out all the condiments and get the table set and really set the table at the end, and then Christoph brings in the food on a platter and takes all the glory.
Dishes out a big portion to himself and doesn't give any to anyone else.
And then it says, "You're welcome, everybody."
Oh, and also really thank you to the team.
Oh yeah, thanks to all the guys that made the food. They're washing dishes right now, but I'm sure they'll be out eventually.
All right. Well, look, we had a lot of fun here today. But I think we've come to the end of our Slow Ride episode, Halloween Spooktacular.
Yes.
That thing is not going to not get me, like, every time. I'm thoroughly spooked. I don't know what that is that you have.
It's called a Magic Mic. It's a child's toy.
Magic Mic? It's maybe something a little different.
Yes, it's different than the movie starring Channing Tatum or whatever his name is and his pecs.
Okay. Well, with that, little guy, do you want to do any thank yous for this show?
I'd like to thank BK1 Rhymesayers Records for the intro and outro music.
Off the album,
the name of the album,
Radio de Cannibal.
Radio de Cannibal.
Yes, it's very good. We also need to thank the Wide Angle Podium Network and the family of shows there: Crossroads Radio, Bike Shop, CX, Consummate Athlete, all the other great shows. Go check them out. WideAnglePodium.com. Grimper Brothers Coffee, delicious.
Yes.
Get your Grimper on. Get your full Schleck going. It is getting chilly, but you can still go full Schleck with the Wide Angle Podium blend of beans. And with that, I've been Spencer in Boston, Massachusetts.
I've been Matt in a graveyard in Minneapolis.
And we'd like to remind you to always wave to all your fellow cyclists that you see out on the road.
Even the skeletons. Even Skeleton Wiggins. Remember when he was Skeletor Wiggins in 2009 or something, when he first got fourth on the tour and he was frighteningly skinny?
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.